Jim could see 8 men. One of them was the blind man. They ran inside the Admiral Benbow Inn. They found Bill dead. The blind man asked them to find his box. They found out that someone opened the box. The blind man knew that it was Jim and his mother who did that. The men started to look around the house. At this time, they heard horses coming down the road and they started to run in all directions. Jim ran out to see who was riding the horses. One of them was the boy who went to get Dr. Livesey, and the rest were policemen. 2 men took his mother to the village, and the others tried to catch the men who escaped on a boat. Jim returned to the Admiral Benbow with the police, who asked him about what they wanted. He showed them the papers that he still had in his jacket. Jim wanted to take them to Dr. Livesey, and the head of the police, Mr. Dance, agreed, as Dr. Livesey was a magistrate as well as a doctor, and he'd know what to do. They found that Dr. Livesey was not at home, but was eating at the house of Mr. Trelawney, an important rich man. Mr. Trelawney asked them into his house. Jim showed Mr. Trelawney and Dr. Livesey the papers that the captain had in his box. The doctor thought this might be a clue to the place where Flint buried his treasure. Mr. Trelawney agreed with him and suggested that they should take the next boat from Bristol and find the treasure themselves. The doctor looked at the papers. Some of them seemed to describe the ships that the captain and his men had robbed. Then they looked at the other papers and saw a map of an island with a big cross on it next to the words, "Most of the treasure here." Mr. Trelawney asked Dr. Livesey to go to Bristol the next day, as in a few days. He wanted Jim Hawkins to come as their ship's boy and Dr. Livesey as the ship's doctor. The doctor agreed, but he was worried that those men who tried to find the map would look for them. It took them longer than they thought to be ready to leave England. While Mr. Trelawney prepared for the journey in Bristol, Jim stayed at Mr. Trelawney's house with his servant Redruth and spent hours studying the map, thinking about the treasure that they might find. One day, a letter was sent to Jim from Mr. Trelawney. It said that a good man called Blandley had a ship called the Hispaniola for them. Trelawney said that he had found a crew ready to work on it. The crew included a man called Long John Silver, who had lost a leg, but was a good cook. Silver also knew other men who would join them. Jim was surprised by this, as he thought they had to keep the news of the treasure a secret. He was very excited by the thought of the journey, and he went to say goodbye to his mother at the Admiral Benbow Inn. He was very sad to leave her the next day when he traveled to Bristol with Redruth. They had just one night in the city before they were going to sail.
Critical thinking questions. 1. How do you think that the boy who went to tell Dr. Livesey helped the narrator and his mother?
He helped them as he went to the police, and they arrived at the right time to rescue the narrator and his mother before the sailors found them.
2. Do you think the blind man and his men were interested in Bill's death? Why?
No, I don't think so, as they were interested in finding the box only to get what was inside it.
3. How do you know that all people trust Dr. Livesey, even the police?
As the head of the police said that Dr. Livesey was a magistrate and a doctor who would know what to do with the papers in the captain's box.
4. Why do you think that Mr. Trelawney was the one who organised the journey to get the treasure?
I think that he was rich enough to pay for the costs of that journey.
5. Why do you think that the 8 men were eagerly searching for the papers in the box?
As they wanted to find the map to the treasure to know its place to get it.
6. Do you think that the captain was loyal to his friends? Why?
I don't think so, as he took the map and the papers after their robbery and left them. I think he was planning to get the treasure alone.
7. Why do you think that it was easy for Mr. Trelawney to get a crew for the ship?
as anyone knew about the treasure became interested and wanted to join them.
9. How do you think Jim and his mother were saved from the 8 men?
I think they were lucky because the police and Dr. Livesey arrived on horses when the boy from the village went and got them.
8. Do you think it was a good thing to tell other people about the map and the treasure? Why?
No, I think they had to keep it secret as other people, especially greedy sailors, would try to get the treasure and get rid of them.
10. If you find it, you will all be rich. Why do you think the blind man said this?
I think he said this to his men to encourage them to find the map of the treasure to get it and be rich.